Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Central Virginia fishing report with Ethan Martin at TaleTellers Fly Shop. How you doing, Ethan?
I'm doing great today. How are you doing?
As always, just trying to stay out of trouble, and other than having gotten a lot of rain last week, temperatures are great and fishing is looking up in Central Virginia, right?
Oh yeah. I've been hearing a lot of really good reports around our local streams here. So it's definitely the start of spring, and maybe we'll get a little bit colder temps than what we've been having right now. Because right now it's sitting in the 60s, and I think Monday it's supposed to be like 75 or something like that. So it's pretty good daytime temps. Of course, nighttime temps are dipping into the 30s. So that's nice in a way because it'll kind of slow down stuff a little bit, and it won't just all of a sudden overnight explode and then die out, and fizzle off. Really, dry fly fishing has been good on our small streams. Stuff on like the James has been high just because of the rain that we got. But we're just about to get into that pre-spawn bass mode where you can go and catch, an absolute mammoth of a smallmouth. So I'm excited. This is a great time of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I guess water temperatures are getting close to kind of that magic number of 50 degrees, right? So that means muskie fishing is winding down. And to your point, time to start chasing pre-spawn smallmouth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So water temps that we've seen the past couple of days, it's been like 45, 46, kind of floating in that range. And then I'm sure after, this warmer temperatures that we're getting, we'll be up in the 50-degree mark in no time at all. So just like you said, it's a great time to kind of go out and fish for your smallmouth. It's mainly like crayfish and baitfish patterns right now. It's one of the things I really do enjoy is throwing crayfish, just kind of dredging them on the bottom. And for whatever reason, this time of the year, I guess smallmouth have to have that sort of food in their diet. And it's one of the main preys that they're going to be able to actually access because there's not a ton of bait fish yet. So yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I would encourage you to get out there, and it's not usually a high numbers game, but the quality of fish that you catch is, it's hard to beat it, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of exactly like what the largemouth guys do when they're fishing to them when they're getting ready to spawn or on the beds. And I guess you want to let folks know kind of where those kind of wearing holes moving to spawning areas look like, so they can fish the right part of the river.
Yeah, main thing, like on Monday I went, and where we caught fish was in a warmer section of river. So the rest of the river was like 45.5, and we moved into a couple of these coves that were, they had access to deeper water, but it was about 6 foot deep, and it was like a 1 degree warmer, just a hair, and we caught 2 in that little stretch. And it was kind of off of the back of an island too. So a couple things is just they're going to still want to be near their wintering holes, but then have close proximity to food. So that's the main things I would tell you is right now it's still cold, so they're not going to be all the way up in the riffle, most likely. But if you have kind of that perfect trifecta of deeper water, which is probably where they were at the whole winter, and then a shallow water spot nearby with food, that could be rocks or something like that where crayfish are going to be in, you'll likely find fish there. And, flies that have triggers in them or like how you're retrieving them, I've caught a lot of fish just using some sort of a crayfish that's like orange or red, kind of the traditional colors for early spring bass fishing. And you can strip it across the bottom real fast, or you can slow it down and just see what they want on that particular day. Cause you can have good days. Don't get me wrong. You can catch a dozen fish. It's definitely happened. And it can happen again. So, but that's where I'd be spending most of my time.
Yeah, and in terms of trout, obviously it's warming up and we can start thinking about spring hatches and, obviously brookies are pretty much hit anything, but for the folks that really want to think more about maybe matching the hatch, what should they be looking for, here in March to fish on the dry?
Yeah, most of the stuff that we've seen so far have been the traditional like black stoneflies, and honestly, they've been pretty large, like a size 14 and a size 16. That'll cover you. And then you'll see a lot of midges that are out hatching. I don't typically fish midges on brook trout streams just because you don't have to. But you will see, cream colored midges or darker, just the black traditional style midge. So if it's me and I have like two patterns that I wanted to go up and fish, dry fly patterns that is, I'd probably have like a purple haze or some sort of darker style parachute. So it kind of submerges that body into the water, which imitates a mayfly, yes, but it also does kind of look like one of the stoneflies. And then like an elk hair caddis that's black. Those two things, and you'll do fine this time of the year. And that's going to lead us into when we start seeing like the Quill Gordons, that sort of stuff. March Browns is another really popular one. And the thing that I always try to remind people is that in our neck of the woods, so in Central Virginia, we are typically like a week to 2 weeks ahead of other sections of Virginia. So like looking at my own, notes over the past really like 10 years that I have, fishing in Shenandoah National Park, that's where I used to spend a lot of my time. And they're almost always like a week or two behind us in the hatches. So if you're from, Richmond or some other area and you're driving in, like the stuff that I'm talking about is going to be a little bit closer to Lynchburg. So, and which is kind of cool though, because if you start catching fish down in my neck of the woods in a week or 2 weeks, you can say, I'm going to take the same stuff and go to a more northern section of Virginia and you'll do just fine. So, kind of a fun little tidbit there for you.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like being out west and like watching the salmon fly hatch work its way up the river. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and folks, we love questions on the articulate fly. You can email them to us. You can DM us on Facebook or Instagram, or you can just drop them in the comments on our social media posts. And if we use your question, I will send you some articulate fly swag, and we will enter a drawing for something cool from the shop at the end of the season. And Ethan, before I let you go, you want to let folks know, I know you've got some special events coming up, as well as just the general store hours and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. So you can find us on Main Street in downtown Lynchburg, Virginia. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that jazz. And we do have a couple of events coming up. We do fly tying events every other Thursday. We have some Fly Fishing 101 events that are happening. We have some we call master classes that are happening. These are all free events. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then we have a spring kickoff that'll be at the end of March, where we've got some giveaways and stuff going on in the shop all day. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We got a lot of stuff planned for this year, and I'm excited.
Yeah, well, very cool. Well, listen, folks, it's warming up. You owe it to yourself to get out there and take advantage of this great weather and catch a few. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Ethan.
Tight lines.